Instead, Hilton went to the van, came back with a tire iron, and bludgeoned Meredith Emerson to death. In an attempt to thwart investigators, he decapitated and poured bleach over the body. This is gruesome beyond belief.
Yes.
For what reason?
I don't know.
Hilton had confessed to killing Meredith Emerson. But what about those other cases in the national forests? A woman in Florida, the elderly couple in North Carolina.
He would not talk about anybody to us other than Meredith.
Because you have to wonder when the switch was thrown in this man.
I know.
How many decades maybe does this go back?
I don't know. Do people just wake up when they're 61 and start to do these kinds of crimes the way he did them? I would think not.
Meredith Emerson went missing New Year's Day. Less than a month later, Gary Michael Hilton appeared in a Georgia courtroom and pleaded guilty to her murder. Meredith's parents were there. Her mother, Susan, addressed Hilton.
I believe he is nothing more than a bully and a weak-minded coward who preys on others. He fancies himself a survivalist. Well, anyone can see he's a scared little man on the run.
The state honored the deal it made with the killer, no death penalty, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Hilton admitted nothing beyond the Emerson murder.
This first time you ever done anything like this before?
I'll let my attorney answer.
By now, investigators from a half-dozen southeastern states, as well as FBI profilers, were rummaging through Hilton's past. By the time he was captured, he wasn't much more than a vagrant in a van, but his past was more complex. As an Army veteran, Hilton had earned an associate's college degree, gotten a private pilot's license on the GI Bill, and been married 3 times before the wheels apparently came off. True crime author Fred Rosen has written 25 books. His latest is Trails of Death, about Hilton.
To underestimate him is foolish. This is a very dangerous person.
According to Rosen, he was shaped by a number of factors. Hilton, who never knew his biological father, was raised by his mother and a stepfather, a horse trainer from Argentina. Do juvenile authorities run into young Gary Hilton along the way?
When Gary is 14 years old, he takes a gun and he shoots his stepfather. He doesn't kill him, but he wounds him very severely. And he's institutionalized. They put him in a mental hospital out in Miami.
Hilton went to high school in Hialeah, Florida, played in a rock band, and eventually joined the Army. A cocky Hilton made sure that the cops who arrested him knew of his Army service back in the 60s with a unit armed with tactical nuclear weapons.
I've handled atomic bombs, okay? I was in special weapons. And I've handled atomic bombs that damn big, that weigh 79 pounds.
And Hilton bragged to the officers about his con man criminal past.
I've never worked full-time anyway in my life, except for the U.S. Army. I did a criminal, okay? I was a career criminal in lawful charity from 73 to 93, okay, for 20 years.
He's collecting money for charities.
He's a scam artist.
He's a scam artist, exactly.
And what about Hilton's dip into the movie business with that semi-slasher flick Deadly Run that he helped make in the 1980s? This film where he's setting women out in the woods and killing them, hunting them.
I hope you like your little outfit I picked out for you, Barbara. I think the look is definitely you.
Do you think that's the template for what he does decades later?
Yes, I do. And that's what's so chilling to me about the whole thing, because in the millennium, he'll make art into reality.
You can hear the echoes of this, huh?
You're already beginning to see the lack of conscience.
In his interview with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Hilton put forth a grandiose sense of himself, a Renaissance man of many hats.
I'm a philosopher, I'm a soldier, I'm a scientist, and I'm an artist.
What do you mean by artist?
My art is my life, and my art is weird.
He's kind of a philosopher king, isn't he? I'm an artist, and you poor dumb cops don't have the luxury of being able to think the big cosmic thoughts that I do.
He almost feels sorry for them that they can't keep up with him when he starts going about this, that, and the other thing.
Hoping for crumbs of clues in those other open cases, murders in the national forests, the agents wanted to keep Hilton talking.
Where all have you hiked? Where all have you been? All over the United States as far as...
I know what you're getting at, the unsolved murders.
Gary Hilton thinks he's smart, is he?
Gary has an IQ of 120, And that's considered to be way above average.
The reason I'm so seemingly intelligent is that I, alone amongst almost anyone, including you dudes, have time to actually stop and think about things.
He'll rattle on as long as someone will listen to him.
Yes.
On any topic under the sun, virtually, huh?
Yes.
Pick a topic, any topic. How about volcanology?
Hey, don't you know the supervolcano under Yellowstone? There's over 70 supervolcanoes. When it erupts, it basically blankets in a cone the whole eastern seaboard of the U.S. under several feet of ash, and would just destroy any civilization in that area.
The fast-talking flim-flam man was on display in some of Hilton's home videos found in his van. Here's Hilton giving a cop that stopped him some lip.
You tell me you're the lawman, you are the law. I'm going to check it out, and if it ain't the law and you're wrong,
you come talk to me.
I'm not talking to nobody. I'm filing and I'm suing because you're interrupting my work.
You hear Gary bragging about how smart he is, how well he does his job, but at the same time, what you hear is an incredible narcissistic personality, which is typical of serial killers. He sets up the camera, and there's Gary going,
171 pounds.
And he starts pumping up his biceps like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he's, very narcissistic.
So why were detectives enduring Hilton's self-centered ramblings? Clearly, they were hoping he'd blurt out something about his involvement in the other unsolved cases in the national forests. But Hilton was admitting to nothing.
Basically, on our timeline, you basically are telling me that you committed no crimes between 97 or 95.
95.
He'd escaped the death penalty in Georgia, but despite his denials, Hilton remained the prime suspect in the murder of that elderly couple, Irene and John Bryant. Mr. Bryant's remains had been found in January in the North Carolina forest.
As a result of the investigation in Georgia, I was absolutely convinced at that point that Gary Hilton was our suspect.
But there was another open homicide case that seemed to fit Gary Hilton like a custom-made suit. Down in Florida, the body of Cheryl Dunlap had been found in a national forest. Her ATM card stolen, the remains decapitated. Detectives thought that fit Hilton's M.O. to a T. And Gary Hilton, still playing the smartest kid in the class, defied Florida to come after him. All that time, all that money.
And if they want to spend $1 million, $2 million to convict me, and then another $2 million to get death, and then another $8 million to defend the death penalty, and get around to executing me 17 years from now when I'm 78 years old and I'm decrepit and anything. Hey, they can do it.
Two tough Florida prosecutors, it turned out, would be the match of his defiant taunt.
My belief is this is an evil, bad person, and there ought to be a consequence in life to evil acts.